Some shocking news has come out of Toronto Blue Jays land as Alek Manoah has been sent down, not to AAA Buffalo, not to Double A. He has been sent down to the Florida Complex League. So we'll break that down on this episode of Jays Digest, as well as a slew of other moves that the Blue Jays made today. So you won't want to miss what's coming up next. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse, and this is not the type of video that we were expecting to be making and bringing to you guys today, but some shocking news out of Toronto Blue Jays land today as Alek Manoah has been sent down to the lowest level of professional baseball affiliated with the major leagues. Now, this seems like a total reset in my opinion, and we'll break it down a little bit further in this video, but Nick, this is a true bomb drop by the Blue Jays, and how long is he going to stay down there? That's the big question.
Yeah, there's tons of questions, and this is a pretty much an immediate reaction. We were having a different video plan. We obviously spoke on it yesterday that he needs to be sent down, but I don't know about you. I did not think they were going to do it at least right away. I didn't even know if they were going to do it at all, but before we do get into the video, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 7,500. You guys have been killing it. The Jays are, tons of moves are going down. Let's get into this one. Manoah sent down. Tons of roster moves were made. I'm going to show one screenshot that highlights them all. And then, of course, later in the video, we'll also show a potential or a signing that the Blue Jays made, which could kind of, link a little bit. But so huge moves here. We'll go down one at a time. Chris Bassett reinstated for the paternity list. He'll be starting tomorrow. Santiago Espinal is also back, which is nice. Right-handed pitcher Bowden Francis is now at the Major League roster. One would suspect that he takes over Manoah's spot, as he has been by far the best AAA pitcher that we have, which isn't saying a whole lot. Jay Jackson got rewarded for his great start with getting optioned to AAA, which is unfortunate. The big piece of news here is Manoah optioned to Florida Complex League, and then Zach Thompson DFA'd. He's been horrible ever since we traded for him. Pretty bad trade there by Ross Atkins. But the big thing here, Alek Manoah optioned to the Florida Complex League, and it seems as if Bowden Francis is going to be taking his spot, which is pretty interesting. It's a guy I texted you privately that I think, has the best chance. He's obviously was doing better than Zach Thompson, no Drew Hutchison anymore, and maybe he takes the spot and runs with it, or maybe it's just a break to give Alek Manoah some controlled off time to help manage his workload. But what a crazy day for the Blue Jays ahead of the Kevin Gausman start in a few hours.
Yeah, Bowden Francis is a 27-year-old prospect. He is someone that's going to act as a stopgap here. I don't think he's the answer in the rotation because as talented as he is and as good as his repertoire is, I mean, he's made 5 starts in the minor leagues this year. He's only got up to 18 innings in those 5 starts. So he's pitched well. He's still managed to limit the damage in those innings that he has been out there on the rubber, but he's not a length guy. He's maybe like an opener in a sense. So the Blue Jays bullpen is going to have to eat a lot of innings until Alek Manoah is ready to come up. And unless the Blue Jays make a move quite soon here, I suspect that Alek Manoah is probably going to be back in a couple of weeks, and they're just going to try to tinker with some things, get him some time off in the Florida Complex League. But I don't think this can last for too long because Bowden Francis has not shown the ability to give you a quality start in any level of professional baseball.
Yeah, very good point. And this might be a sign of moves to come for the Blue Jays. Maybe they'll make a trade, or maybe the most likely thing, they give Manoah a couple weeks, maybe a month off, whatever it takes for him to get not only his pitching, his mental health back in order, and his rest his arm a little bit as well. And I guess of other things of note here, like you said, it's a Florida Complex League, so they didn't just bring him down to AAA, so it's a bit more of a shocking move by putting him in the Florida. And again, Jay Jackson's no longer with the team. And I guess kind of hidden in this is Espinal is back. He could be very, very useful. We've been seeing a lot of Kevin Biggio lately. That'll probably be switched up now for Espinal, which is very, very good. And Peter, do you have any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, and another surprising move is that Zach Thompson, who was on the 40-man roster, got optioned, and now he's no longer on the 40-man roster to make room for Bowden Francis. Now, he was next in line because Mitch White has not been good in his rehab starts in AAA, and you were to think that Zach Thompson, probably the most proven guy that they have left in the system, is someone that could step in and fill that void that Alek Manoah is going to be leaving. But they're putting their trust in the rookie Bowden Francis, and I don't know how I feel about it. I think a move needs to follow soon, depending on if the Jays evaluate Alek Manoah to be ready or not in the coming 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be unreal next 2 to 3 weeks monitoring this situation. Pause this video if you want to have a one more look, and it's good to see Bassett's back and everything like that. But overall, a crazy piece of news that we definitely didn't expect to be making, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions tonight before the game to John Schneider, to everyone, and we'll hopefully have you covered in a video either later tonight or more likely tomorrow regarding all this updated news. But we wanted to get this out right away. And let's also touch on the Jays made a signing a couple days ago or a few days ago, and it's not directly related to Manoah at all, and it doesn't have a direct impact, but it's one we do want to touch on here. And what a funny name, a great name, I should say. This is on June 3rd. Blue Jays have signed reliever Alfred Pesto III to a minor league deal. He goes by, I believe, Al Pesto. On top of having an 80-grade name, the 25-year-old righty last pitched for the Indy League's Billings last year, striking out 27 in 25 and a third innings, rocking a 3.91 ERA. Now, Pete, I don't know too much about this guy, but it seems like the Jays, they make tons of signings, and they're usually pretty good with it. They obviously haven't been great at developing lately, but maybe this guy could turn into something. I was doing a bit more research. He seems like well-respected and a promising, young player.
You need all the pitching you can get, and that's just the bottom line nowadays in professional baseball. You don't only have a major league roster to fill. You got 4 or 5 different minor league teams as well that need pitching staff. So Al Pesto, great name, by the way. I think he's going to fit in quite nicely with this Blue Jays organization. I don't think he's going to have any impact at the major league level, at least not anytime soon. But hopefully this signing right here is a sign of things to come in the future for the Toronto Blue Jays, because as much as I want to see Alek Manoah regain his confidence and come back to the major league roster, I don't think he's going to regain his form this season, and I really truly believe that it's best if he takes a lot of time off and finds his ways again, because you compared it to the Ricky Romero situation, Nick, and I don't think the two are comparable. Obviously, you look at the numbers. Great year 1 year, and then the next season he's one of the worst pitchers in baseball. That's what happened to Ricky Romero. But Romero, it was injury induced, and he just couldn't stay healthy, and then the next year he was out of professional baseball. I don't think that's going to happen to Alek Manoah. I don't think it's because his knees are falling apart. I truly believe that it's something mental, something mechanical, and he was overused in the past couple of seasons out of necessity by the Toronto Blue Jays. Something had to change, and I think this is the move corresponding to that here.
Yeah, I agree, and I think a lot of it is mental. I think a lot of it is physical as well. Maybe of course they work together with each other for whatever's been happening with him this year. But I think it was Chris Black or someone made a tweet. You can go check it out if you haven't. And it's basically about his mechanics. He's fallen off the rubber more, something like that, and it makes sense. He's definitely fatigued. He's pitched probably way more than he should have last year, and ultimately they might pay the price for. But this ultimately goes to show how poor the Blue Jays have been at scouting or developing our pitchers in the AAA system. Because coming into this year, bearing any sort of bad circumstance for any one of our starting pitchers, we've been put in a situation like this because Zach Thompson didn't work out, Mitch White didn't work out, disastrous trade as Nick Frasso's looking to be an elite pitcher, and then everyone else who I'm mixing right now in the minors who's been horrible. Zach Thompson got DFA'd. We need to do something about it because we have zero depth in the minors. And obviously Ricky Tiedemann, who knows if he stayed healthy, if this was a different situation. But I don't think they're going to, if anything, this is going to make them play more careful for Ricky Tiedemann, get him his innings in the minor leagues before they call him up, because we don't want to have a Nate Pearson. I guess we can call it a Nate Pearson / Manoah situation, even though Pearson is injury related. Manoah was more fatigue related.
Yeah, and I think you brought it up to me actually a little bit earlier on text, saying, imagine if Ricky Tiedemann was healthy, he'd probably be up with the team. And that's the last thing that I want the Blue Jays to go ahead and do, because look at how they developed pitchers in the past couple of seasons. I mean, Nate Pearson just hasn't been able to pan out as a starter. Alek Manoah, he looked like a surefire ace, and now this happens. So it's got to be something with the development. All the great pitchers that the Blue Jays have had in recent years, apart from Roy Halladay, have not been homegrown talents. They've been guys that they've traded for, guys that they've signed in free agency that were already established. So I don't believe in the Blue Jays development system when it comes to pitching. I do believe in them when it comes to position players, but something's got to give. And the last thing that I want them to do is to rush a 20-year-old Ricky Tiedemann to the bigs. That's just not going to play, man.
Yeah, especially after trading Gabriel Moreno, our best prospect. I think they're going to want to hold on to the last gem we have, because other than that, we don't have great prospects behind Tiedemann. I guess Barrier and a couple other guys. But that'll wrap up the video. Shocking news out of Blue Jays land, specifically the fact he's going down to Florida. Very, very interesting. And I, for one, didn't even know if the Blue Jays had the, I guess I could say the guts to do it, but ultimately they did. It's definitely the right decision because Manoah was an automatic L. But that'll wrap up the video. We'll have some more videos for you either tonight or tomorrow. We'll see you then.